Hey everyone, welcome to the Band Gym. I want to take you through today my 6 training pillars. These are concepts or ideas or strategies that I've gone ahead and applied to my private and personal workouts. And I share them with my clients as well. But this is how I design my training workout weekly plan and monthly plan. Specifically over the past few years as I've gotten older, now being into my 50s, these pillars have become even more important to me because they truly are based on allowing me to maximize my opportunities to enjoy life outside the gym. So these pillars have become morphed into different types of concepts, much different than when I was in my 20s and 30s. So let's get started by covering all 6 pillars today. Pillar number 1 is this: movement always comes before muscle. And here's what I mean by that. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I could get away with going ahead and going into a gym and hitting my workout right away. I didn't have to worry about warming up or mobilizing my body. But what I found is, as I did that, I became stiff, tight, and I started losing my mobility, which also transferred into me losing my athleticism. Quickly, I discovered that I was losing this and realized that I needed to flip that around and place mobility before muscle. So that was the first reason or first place that I came up with this pillar. The second reason I came up with this pillar is because regardless if you want to get stronger, you want to go ahead and put on muscle, maybe you want to get more explosive, build power, maybe you want to get more athletic, the bottom line is you're going to have to move to be able to do that. So movement is always going to be number 1 when it comes to building an exercise program. So mobility or movement is always going to come first in my training programs, which means that I'm going to mobilize my body. I'm going to make sure that I frequently take myself through large amplitudes of movement. I'm going to make sure that I don't just look at loading up with heavy resistance, but I always go ahead and make sure that I'm going through full ranges of motion. I truly want to be long and strong, not just strong. Pillar number 2, locomotion is the blueprint. What do I mean by that? Well, when you look at how our body was designed, it was truly designed for locomotion, specifically walking. Just go ahead and look at how a child develops as they go from not being able to walk to walking. And then go ahead and apply that into your own training programs. What I mean by that is this. When I look at my workouts on a regular basis, I'm always thinking, how is this workout going to improve my ability to walk, run, maybe crawl or perform locomotion in different ways? But I'm going to look at how it's going to help me get from point A to point B. Now you may say, well, just building your strength will do that. Well, not exactly. Because I can be super strong through my lower body, but not have good walking mechanics and good coordination, or not be able to run. So I need to go ahead sometimes and drop the load while I'm going through movements that look, smell, and feel like walking. So simple things like rowing in a staggered stance, or doing multiple types of single leg exercises like step ups, split squats, elevated split squats, lunges, side lunges. Maybe even just doing body weight type movements where I work on rhythmical movements between my lower body and my upper body. Irregardless, I'm always thinking about how can I improve locomotion, because granted, the number 1 thing that I want to be able to do throughout my entire life is maintain my ability to walk. And therefore, I'm going to make sure that it's a key pillar within my training program. Pillar number 3, rotation is king. Now, why do I put such a strong emphasis on rotation? Well, there's 4 significant reasons why. Number 1, it's going to be the first plane of movement in all of my joints that Father Time is going to try to take away from me. So I'm going to make sure that I go ahead And I emphasize making sure I keep my rotational mobility because I know Father Time's going to take it away from me. And if he can, that means he's going to go ahead and really disrupt my daily activities. Because when you look at your daily activities, rotation plays a huge part. How often are you rotating and turning and trying to reach out and grab things? Simple walking requires you to rotate. So rotation becomes huge in our daily activities. And if you want to stay physically active in your daily activities, you got to keep your rotation. Also, rotation plays a huge role in recreational activities. I love the golf. Golf, it has a huge rotational component to it. I need to go ahead and keep that because if I lose that rotational component in my ankles, knees, hips, specifically in my hips and my mid-back, it's going to deter me from being able to play the game of golf, or in this case, my recreational activity that I enjoy doing. It's going to deter me from being able to do that at the best I can, at the best level I can. So rotation plays a huge part in our recreational activities, and I want to make sure that I can keep doing those things for a very long time. Lastly, rotation is really one of the key elements that lead to injury. When you look at a lot of the orthopedic injuries that we suffer, rotation or loss of rotation or lack of rotational control play a huge role in why we get injured. Therefore, by keeping my rotational mobility, by keeping my rotational strength, by making sure I'm training in a rotational plane on a regular basis, it's going to give me that opportunity to create a body that's resilient and a body that continues to perform with the activities on the things that I love doing. So guys, big pillar of training, rotation has to be king. Pillar number 4 is all about building usable strength. I don't just want to lift heavy things, because lifting heavy things, especially at my age, is going to start placing my joints, my tendons, and my muscles at a potential risk, especially if the weight is too heavy. Now, what's heavy enough? Well, when you look at what you do in your daily activities, especially what you do outside the gym, I'm sure that lifting huge amounts of weight are probably not part of your daily activities. Yes, you have to lift weight, and yes, you have to be able to lift a certain level of weight. But lifting super heavy weights is probably not something you need to do or something that's needed or usable outside the gym. Instead, what I want to do is build usable strength. And in many cases, usable strength means I want to be strong on a single leg with a single arm. I want to go ahead and make sure that my trunk is constantly involved in my ability to generate force, because a lot of the daily activities that I generate force for and that I use my strength with is going to require my legs and my upper body to work together. So as a result of that, I want to very often strength train my body in a standing position, building usable strength that is in multiple planes, that is causing forces on my body both vertically using free weights, but also horizontally using bands. I also want to go ahead and make sure that I change up rep speeds and things of this nature, because strength isn't just generated by lifting a heavy weight, it's also generated by creating forces quickly. So as a result of that, you really want to go ahead and look at building usable strength and really determining, is going heavier really important to me outside the gym? Or maybe it's more important that I generate more forces in a rotational plane or in a sideways plane, or more forces using my entire body to lift a weight. You get what I mean by developing usable strength. By all means, do I want you to just use bands to train with? Absolutely not. Because you're training against gravity. Gravity is something we have to deal with each and every day. So as a result of that, lifting weights is very important, but how heavy you go with that weight and how much weight you need to actually lift, That's where you want to go ahead and really break it down and say, what do I need to go ahead and where does my strength need to be usable? And let's make sure that that's first and foremost when it comes to building your strength. Pillar number 5, power. Life is all about power. And you may say, Dave, at 59 or 60 years old, power is not important to me. Oh, yes, it is. Everything you do in life pretty much focuses around you being able to generate power. Keep in mind that power is the ability to move spontaneously and quickly and be able to lift a force spontaneously and quickly. Now, how much force? Well, again, probably not as much as you did when you were younger, but you still have to be able to move a force quickly. That's why I like training with resistance bands, because the variable resistance allows me to train power, but train it using a force that's very safe and allows me to move at a speed that I know I can control. Now, here's another reason you want to keep power in your training program. When it comes to maintaining your balance and keeping yourself reactive and your ability to react with awkward movements, those types of things are going to occur quickly. If you train your body to handle forces quickly, be able to move quickly, be able to generate force quickly, you're going to improve and maintain a higher level of reactivity and be able to react quicker. As we age, once again, Father Time is going to really start hitting on our ability to react and move quickly. By training your body with a power mindset, you're literally training your body to be able to generate force quickly when you need to. And that's why power training is so important to me. So when you look at power training, don't think heavy, large resistance, moving it quick. Think about generating a force quickly using a resistance that you know you can control, but yet you can challenge yourself to move quickly. Also keep in mind that in your training program, in your workouts, nobody says you have to be off balance when you're generating this force. You can use things like a hand support to generate something quickly. You can go ahead and use balance to move quickly through your legs. So feel free to bring in your upper body and lower body. If you're training unilaterally, like we talked about when we talked about usable strength, well, it's going to be very easy for you now to go ahead and build in power into your training programs, which, once again, is our 5th and my personal 5th pillar of training. The final and 6th pillar of training that I bring into my personal workouts is a conscious level of recovery. I'm a fitness guy. I love working out. I always have. But one of the things that I've realized, especially as I've gone into my 50s and now getting closer to 60, that recovery is so important. And I know you've heard this before, but I think you really have to be conscious of your recovery. You literally have to plan it out. And so now I bring in multiple ways for my body to recover. I actually look at how does my body recover? And it doesn't require by just simply not working out. Matter of fact, I think exercise helps me recover as long as it's the right type of exercise. So here's what I mean. My recovery days could be a low intensity walk, just a long walk. It could be me working on my mobility and discovering new movement patterns that I haven't brought into my workouts on a regular basis. Just simply moving. I love doing that. Just going down into the band gym like I am here and just taking my body through movement patterns with no load, which brings me to another part of the recovery. I don't use loads on my recovery day. I go ahead and just get used to moving my body. I like bringing in rhythmical movements. Learning and teaching my body how to move my lower body and my upper body together, which brings me to helping build my locomotion strength. I also like to go ahead and work core strength, primarily core stability. Now, when I say that though, again, I'm not loading my body with heavy loads. I'm loading with very light loads or no loads at all. Just teaching my body how to move. We can build a lot into our fitness and our performance and our health by just simply letting our body move without loads. So your recovery needs to be a conscious effort. The other thing about recovery is sleep. Sleep, hydration, and eating the right foods. All of those things go into your recovery plan. And on those days that you recover, take a moment to think about, how's my hydration going? How's my sleep doing? How am I doing from an eating standpoint? Are there certain foods that maybe I should start backing out of a little bit more? You know, those are all things that you need to become consciously aware of. And on a recovery day is a perfect day to go ahead and do that.